Now I know what you're thinking. Man, this thing is almost 20 minutes long. Oh yeah, it's long and worth every minute. Watch the whole thing because there's a whole bunch to talk about. Woo! Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. The Boar and the Butterfly. Episode 11, Season 3, Into the Badlands. This was... I don't even know where to start. This was the best episode for Season 3 so far. Hands down, bar none. Let me tell you, if somebody doesn't pick this show up, they're crazy. If you're a network exec and you happen to be listening to this video, you would be nuts not to pick this show up. And I don't know what AMC is thinking, but somebody at the higher ups, the execs, the folks up here have lost their minds. Woo! This was a good episode. All right, okay. Oh, man. So, a whole lot to talk about here, you guys. I mean, I couldn't believe it. You don't understand, like, the feeling I felt inside. Man. I'm telling you, man. Okay, I'm sorry, let's get into it. But man, guys, it was so good. So the first thing I want to talk about with this episode is just the convergence of the stories. How about that, man? How about how this episode does such a good job of converging all of our stories? Now, really all roads lead to Pilgrim. I mean, we all knew it was happening, right? We knew it was coming. But the way they told this story and started to point everybody in the direction of Pilgrim, I thought was phenomenal. And I was particularly impressed with how they were able to do this in such a powerful, intention-felt way, all within one episode. We are pointing everybody now. We got the widow strongly pointed towards Pilgrim. Of course, now we got Sonny. Now we got MK involved, and it looks like we know where he's going. We brought in the Black Lotus, and we got Ankara back all in one episode. Whew. Oh man, man, oh man, oh man. It just makes you think. I don't want to call anybody any names, but I don't know what the backstory is at AMC, but what a moronic move it was to drop this show. What's going on? Woo! All right, so let's get into a couple of things that I noticed here, you guys. If you are a fan of Into the Badlands here and you are not part of the community, do yourself a favor and join the best community here on YouTube. Boy, we love this show, and we'd love to have you join the discussion. So, the first thing I want to open with is what happens with the widow in this. And I love this, man. Listen, guys, I'm going to say something here. I know everybody wants to see her get her gift back, and I'm sure we will, but I was satisfied with her performance here with no gift. A couple of things I want to highlight here. I'm gonna be a little bit all over the place, guys. Forgive me. I'm excited, man. Did you see the difference in her fighting without the gift, but after having learned the lesson that the master was trying to impart to her? That if she is not so focused on revenge, if she is not so focused on the get back, that she would be much better off. Now, did you notice it? Because I saw it when she was fighting Sonny. Did you notice how much more fluid she was as a fighter when she was minus the aggression? You didn't see the aggression in her face. She was calm. She was controlled. I felt like she was measured. And I feel like that's the lesson that the master is really kind of trying to get her to see, is that you are a better person, not because of the gift, but because when you embrace who you are as an individual, kind of that higher self, that better self, it elevates all parts of you. And we saw that in that fight with Sonny, because I'm going to come out right now and say it, that she was a better fighter in that fight sequence. And it's because I think at this point, she is elevated. Now, I'm sure we're going to see her get the gift back. I'm sure that's going to happen. But I think if we do see her get the gift back, it's going to be on some kind of sick, crazy level, because it will not be the same type of execution of the gift, if that makes any sense, as those that practice the gift that are simply in the dark state, i.e. a Pilgrim or i.e. an MK. She's like elevated, man. Whew. I thought that fight scene was phenomenal, and I love what's happening with her character. So like right now, I feel like we really are seeing like a major shift in her arc. We really are seeing her kind of come around to the person that we all know that she could be, that she should be. And it's fabulous. That's another reason why you cannot let this show go. Man, we need a 4. We need a season 5, 6, 7, and 8. Somebody needs to pick this show up. Somebody needs to pick this show up. We have to keep this going, man, oh man. So I love that. I love the fact that we now are starting to see her transition. We're starting to see her kind of become something different, really becoming something that's actually a lot more beautiful. I also loved how they began to tell her backstory with Baji, and it was really cool because it wasn't really an exposition. It was nice to kind of have those two connect and then have that reconciliation, right, where we learn a little bit about her backstory in the sense that we learn what happened with her and Baji, but we also kind of see this coming together, kind of like this healing process between those two. And man, it was great. It was really good to see. It was good to see her kind of melt. It was good to see her kind of embrace the forgiveness that Baji was trying to give, kind of the softening of her inside, but Baji as well, man, kind of trying to just reconcile their past. He admits that, listen, I did something I shouldn't have done. He's vulnerable, right? He says, when I lost that gift, I felt like nothing because the gift apparently made him feel so powerful. And when he lost that, he was a shadow of himself. And that's why he did what he did. And he was like, but I'm sorry. And she embraces that. And that was so exciting to see. Oh, man. So the convergence, right, of the storylines is so powerful. But not only that, we do also start to see all of these different relationships beginning to intersect and beginning to really kind of meld into each other and beginning to build on one another from all of our major characters. When we jump to Moon and Lydia, and I'm super scared about that because I'm telling you, one of those guys are biting the dust. We already know that it's going to be some sadness, man, some tear jerkers. We know that's coming, and it's going to be one of them. Whew. But it's cool, right? It's nice to see that whole relationship blossom and them fuse that relationship. Let me ask you something. How are you guys going to give us one more season, put all this on us, and then cut us off? Somebody pick this show up. Okay, so it's nice to even see that relationship bloom and to see those two fuse and come together. And it's nice to see kind of love on this show unfettered. You know what I mean? Like the love that they have between each other, it doesn't seem to kind of hold any closet secrets, or nobody seems to be holding back. They have fully embraced their care for one another. And this is the first time we really see that. And of course, outside of Sunny and Belle, I mean, that's like the real first big true love of the show. You might argue that we see something like that between Minerva and Gaius, but not quite. There is a little bit of restriction. There is a little bit of holding back, a little bit of mistrust in that relationship, or what we've seen from that relationship in the past. Who knows what will happen when the two of them reunite. But here between Lydia and Moon, we kind of have like this pure love. I hope Sherman sees this video because I would love to just know his thoughts on it. I don't know how he would get that to me, but I hope you see it, Sherman. That's my point. So to see those two come at it and to see her wisdom, and I've said before that I think that she is probably one of the most calculating, or maybe even the smartest player in the Badlands because of her foresight and because of how well she's able to read people and situations. Now check it out. Did you see when Cressida comes knocking on the door? She has that great line, by the way. All of this belongs to Pilgrim now. That was really good, Lorraine. You really killed that. But did you see how she was able to assess the situation and not get very hot-headed like Moon does? So when they're having that dialogue, and basically Cressida's like, listen, this is all ours. You got some choices here. You can pay fealty to Pilgrim, or else we're taking it anyway, and we're going to kill you in the process, basically. And Moon jumps out there and he says, listen, well, if he wants it, tell him to come take it himself. And Cressida says, okay, if that's what you want, you shall have what you want. And then we see the two Dark Ones get ready to cut themselves. And you see how Lydia notices that. She was like, whoa. Uh-oh. So she jumps in. And because she's so smart, she saves the day. So all of those things about her, like now we're really, I feel like we're really starting to see the characters really kind of manifest and really come into their own, which makes it super sad that this is the last freaking season of this show. I just had to say that. So I love that. She had the foresight to see, wait, Moon, you jumped out there, but you're not going to win this. And then she goes into a place where she sees the need to compromise. She sees the need to be diplomatic, the need to be calculating, the need to be smart, which I loved about her character. Something interesting though, guys. Tell me what you think about this, because I noticed something. Now, let's jump back a little bit before that scene. Now, do you remember when Cressida is having a conversation with Pilgrim about not leaving the fort unattended? And Pilgrim goes out, and we know, man, that we're going to talk about that because he's on his way to the Master, and we might see the showdown fight in the next episode, episode 12. But let's talk about Cressida in that conversation that she's having with Pilgrim at that point. And she says it's probably not a good idea to leave the place unattended, unprotected. You know, MK's worried about that. MK's like, listen, yo, don't underestimate the Widow. And MK's right, because that girl is smart. Now, in this case, MK doesn't really know what's going on, so the Widow doesn't apparently have anything prepared for Pilgrim. But Lydia might. So I say all this to say that it's really interesting, right, that Cressida makes that point about keeping the place attended, and she says, leave me two dark ones, but she's not there anymore. Nobody's there, it would appear. It would appear that Pilgrim's on his way to find the Master via MK, who really made me mad at the beginning of the show. I thought to myself, man, I'm sick of you, MK. I'm sorry, man. I know there's some folks, Kevin. I'm sorry, Kevin, man. I know that's your boy. But boy, he was really making me mad. So, Kevin's a community member, by the way. So, anyway, so now the place is left unattended, which is really interesting, right? Because I have a theory about that. I'm going to save that for our theory video on Thursday. Make sure your notification bells are on so that you don't miss it, because I got a lot of theories now. So, I just thought that was interesting, and I don't know if, I'm sure you guys picked up on it, so definitely, if I did, I'm sure you did. So, that's another thing. Also, it was really kind of nice to see Ankara back in this. And I told you guys before, I thought that she was a super fascinating character. And I wanted to see her back in this narrative and to see how they will weave her in. And man, they've done a good job of doing so. Still not really sure about what's up with her, but it'll be interesting to see kind of how they land her within this narrative when it all comes down to it. And really what side she will actually end up being on. Because I'm a little unclear about her. I feel like she's a little bit fuzzy. And I feel like we make the decision right now at this point that she's totally Team Pilgrim or totally Team Sunny. I don't feel like we really know enough. If you guys disagree with that, or if I've missed something to make you think that we do know kind of what side she'd be on, then let me know. But I thought it was great to have her back in the story and to see her kind of exercise more of the gift. So that was awesome because I want to see where they take that character. And now let's talk about the Black Lotus. Who have we have gotten back in the story? That's what I'm talking about, man. When I say that they have done a fabulous job in one episode of converging all of these important elements and bringing them all into the story in just such a great storytelling fashion. None of it feels contrived. None of it feels pushed. None of it feels like, we got like 5 episodes left. We got to get these guys in here somehow, some way. It's just like a seamless flow into the story. It all makes sense. It all fits perfectly. It's amazing. But we see those guys. Now we know they're back on the scene. So now we know that they're definitely brought into the loop. And we actually see Magnus himself when he comes into like the ice plane, I don't know what you call it, that's what I call it, that Ankara was staying in. We see a look at Magnus himself. Incidentally, I called someone else Magnus that wasn't Magnus a few videos ago, but that was in a theory video, so I feel like I'm excused for that because I got that theory wrong. I've gotten a lot of theories wrong, come to think of it. So, we get to see him back, and we get to see the Black Lotus back in the fold, and I think that he is a big dog within the Black Lotus. So now, man, like, now you gotta be excited. Because we've gotten a whole bunch of major players that are back into the picture. Everybody's focused on Pilgrim. Everybody's part of this storyline. And then we got more to come. Some more characters we haven't seen before. They're coming too. Woo! How you going to end this show? And oh man, you can let somebody pick this show up. Somebody pick this show up. So, I was excited about them as well. And then we get some information right about them. So, we know that these guys are no slouches. Now, it does look like the Ankara was able to take a few of them out, but I will tell you, did you hear what she said about the Black Lotus? She said they specialize and different techniques to take out dark ones. There, I think, is the clue. We got a clue there about something, which gives me another theory. Not going to share it now. We'll talk about it on Thursdays. I'm trying to keep the schedule, you guys. And Thursdays is our theory day for Into the Badlands. So we'll talk about it there. But, whew, I don't even know, right, man? Like, so we've gotten all of these players back. We finally met Baron Chow's mom, which I was super excited to see. And there's a little tie in there. I wonder if you guys noticed it, but I was super excited to see Baron Chow's mom because I knew that there was something up. I mean, he mentioned her a couple of times. We'd never met her. I was like, okay, there's something going on with her. She has some degree of importance to this story. Yes, this video's long. We're at what, 16 minutes now. I'm hoping you're tracking. I'm hoping you're watching the whole thing. I just got a lot to say, man. If you saw the episode, you understand. Woo, this was a good episode. So we meet his mom. It's really interesting with that whole dynamic as well because we meet her and apparently she's less of a player than I thought she was going to be because she appears to be quite dead right now by the hands of Tilda. But I thought that interchange was something as well. And I thought it was kind of crazy that when she says, I've raised my children never to unsheath their sword, and yes, unless they're going to use it. But it was really interesting, right, how there is still kind of this loyalty to family, so to speak, I guess, with even with Gaius and his mom, because he didn't kill his mom, and I'm sure he wanted to, but there is something even with Baron Chow where they've kind of got ingrained in them that whole notion of family. And at no point does Baron Chow kill mom. I'm sure she could have, and neither does Gaius, but Tilda does. And she, man, if mom gets up after that, I really need an explanation in the story, and I mean something very detailed as to how that can happen just because of biologically you don't appear to be able to get stabbed that many times and still live. So I'm thinking she's pretty dead is what I'm thinking is going on there. Anyway, you guys, so much going on in this episode. So many dissecting storylines, but it's really good because I feel like this is really the linchpin episode that connects all of our different stories, all of our different dynamics, and really points all roads to the next coming or the next big event, which is I guess the final event with Pilgrim. I thought this was the best episode I have seen so far in season 3, and maybe the best episode of the show. And it really, really, really makes me sad and frustrates me because I feel like the show is just now getting its legs. Like just now starting to hit its stride. And I'm gonna tell you, this is a banner show. And if some network doesn't notice that and doesn't pick this show up and promote it as their premiere show, which is what obviously AMC has decided to do with The Walking Dead, no slight on that show if you love it, I don't watch it, somebody better not sleep because this can be a network's premiere show. And if you push it and show it to people, then people are going to watch this show because there's nothing like it on TV. Nothing like it on TV. Man, oh man, this was so good. Oh boy. Guys, thank you so much for watching this. If you are a fan of Into the Badlands, we love the show on the channel. Obviously, you can see that this is the best community on YouTube. We are into all kinds of stuff, action, adventure, sci-fi, fantasy, you name it, we're covering it, especially if it's part of that genre. We will be picking up Warrior that airs on Cinemax starting this Friday. I hope you loved it. I hope you got to this point. Hit that subscribe button, join the community. I will see you guys in the comments. Woo! Oh man, oh man, oh man, this was a good episode. And I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.